In this video, I'm going to go over a more basic aspect of functions where you have a function that has no parameters. If you recall from the video Functions 2, we looked at what happens when you have a whole bunch of parameters in your function, like x and y and radius and color. So anyways, it turns out you don't need to have, you can have 0 or more parameters in a function when you define it. And so we're going to take a look at a function where it has no parameters at all. It's a simpler case, but I just wanted to at least let you know that it existed. And so this video will not be as long as the previous couple of videos. Let's go ahead and you should go into Sandbox, and then let's go ahead and say Functions 3. And in this one, we're just going to, I'd like the idea of having some kind of description as to what the program is. And I want you to type it and add it. You know, as I'm writing the code, you should be writing some code too. In this case, we're going to look at functions with no parameters. That'll be the big difference between this video and the previous ones. Okay, so to make a function, we start off with def, and let's just say do stuff. And what else? I guess we could just draw a bunch of circles again. Let me think about this. Rather than diving in and showing you how to write a function with no parameters, I want to show you a few examples of things where functions with no parameters exist, and then it'll make more sense that we care about a function with no parameters. So one of the things that we can do with code, with software, oh, by the way, since we're working on Functions 3, please let's go ahead and save as Functions 3. So you'll have it saved for later. And this way you can also show me evidence that you actually watched the video and you worked along with it. Anyways, let's see here. There is a command that lets us generate random numbers, and this is really useful for every kind of video game you'd ever want to create, because in video games some things happen to you that involve randomness. For instance, an enemy might be firing at you, and you don't want all of their shots to come right directly at you, or it wouldn't be any fun. So there's got to be some randomness to them. Or when you're playing a sport in a video game, sometimes you'll take a shot and you'll get it. You'll put the ball in the hoop, and sometimes you'll slightly miss. There's an element of randomness there. So anyways, we can generate random numbers really easy with a function called random. And the way that we call that function is we just put 2 parentheses after it. In other words, we don't have to give it any parameters. Now, in order for you to see what it does, we're going to print it. So we're going to say print random, and then we'll put the 2 parentheses in there. And now let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and hit run. Let's go ahead and clear the console down here. I'm going to hit run and take a look down here. This guy's going to print a random number down here. Here we go. Boom, there's one random number. Now, random by itself only generates numbers between 0 and 1. So you can see that this is a decimal number, okay? And I'll go ahead and hit it a few more times. Run, 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 run. And you can see it continues to generate random numbers. And they are between 0 and 1. And we don't have to tell the random function anything. We don't have to tell it what x position to put the number in. We don't have to tell it what color we want the number to be. We don't have to tell it what the starting number should be and what the ending number should be. And by the way, you can. We do have functions that allow you to do that sort of thing. But there are some functions like random that have no parameters. And so I just wanted you to know that they exist. Now, it turns out the print function itself can have no parameters. Let's say that we want to print something like hello. And then let's say right after that we want to print something else like goodbye. And so I'll go ahead and hit run and then look down here in the console. You'll notice that hello is followed immediately by goodbye. Now, here's the thing. There may be times where you're trying to figure out what's going on in your code, and you might want to use print statements to show you what is the value of the X position of your circle, okay, or the Y position. And you might want some space in between so it doesn't look like a whole bunch of numbers all run together. So one thing we can do is we can use the print statement with no parameters, print. You still need the two parentheses, but we can now make sure that there's a space between hello and goodbye. Check it out. Take a look down here in the console. I'm going to go ahead and hit run now. And now you can see I print hello, and then I print a blank line, and then I print goodbye. Now, there are other places where we end up having things that, functions that just, that don't require parameter. For instance, if we wanted to add a sound to our program, and this is sort of a more advanced feature, but let me go ahead and see if I can do this real quick. Here is a sound that I created for a football game that I was working on. I was trying to make a version of an older electronic game that I had when I was a kid, and so I found this sound, and then and now I've pulled it into CMU so that I can play it. The way that we play the sound, because once the sound file is loaded, you want to be able to play it whenever whenever it's necessary, whenever it's desired. So the way we'll do that is we'll say touchdown, which is the name of the sound, and then we'll say dot play. And the play is a sort of a function. It's known as a method because it comes at the end of the word touchdown and after a dot, but still, play is essentially a function, and all the function does is make it so that the touchdown sound plays. And you'll notice that it does require two parentheses afterwards. I'm kind of curious what happens if I don't put any. I'm going to go ahead and hit run. Nothing happens at all. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put two parentheses after it. And I just realized that the way I'm recording this video, I don't think you're going to be able to hear the sound. Let me see, maybe, yeah, I don't know if I can get it so that you will hear the sound. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and give it a try here. I'm going to hit run. Okay, so I don't know if you heard it play from the computer, but I'm hopeful my microphone picked it up. I'll play that back just to check. Okay, good. I just listened to my recording, and it sounds like you could hear it a little bit in the background. I think you also coincidentally heard my phone receiving a text message at the same time. But anyways, I'll go ahead and play the sound again. And again. And hopefully you caught that. Anyways, the main point I'm trying to make is that we're going to run into functions that require we're going to run into functions that can require anywhere between 0 and multiple parameters. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, even more parameters. And by the way, something else I'd like to point out is that when we generate a circle, when we draw a circle on the screen in CMU, all we're doing is a function call. And if we tell it 200, 200, 30, and then fill, actually, let's not even worry about that. Just give it those three things. Those are three parameters. Circle is the function call, and CMU has defined the function somewhere in the background, so you can't see the function definition, but we can call the function using circle, and you'll notice when we do that, we have to provide some parameters, in this case 3. When we go to generate a random number, we don't have to provide any parameters. However, if we want to see that random number, we will have to do something more than simply just run random. Anyways, we can see that circle. Let's go ahead and quickly run that. And you'll notice that the function circle was called. A black circle was drawn at 200, 200 with a radius of 30. And so normally we have functions that have parameters, but there are cases where the function does not have a parameter, and I just wanted you to know about that. I wanted you to know that that situation exists. Can we make a function with no parameters? Absolutely. Let's see here. Do stuff. At this point, I don't really have a great example for you, so I'm not even sure exactly. Maybe, you know what? I'm just going to say print random. That's probably the only thing that I can really do right now with your level of knowledge without showing you a lot more advanced stuff. So let's go. Oh, let's remember that we got to call that function do stuff. And when we do, if I hit run, there we go. I've given do stuff no parameters, and nevertheless, every time I hit run, I get a new random number generated. Yay! Now you understand about functions that require no parameters. Good job.